Hello, I'm Belinda Colleen, and if you haven't seen me before, I like to talk about reselling and different subjects. Today, I'm going to be discussing why reselling appeals to retirees. There are a lot of reasons. I'm a retiree, so I can tell you many reasons that I was interested in it. I started off, honestly, it was a practical move for me. I was in an antique store for a while, and then I needed to uh, move closer to my mother, and I didn't have an opportunity or a place to an antique store near her home. So it was a matter of deciding how I was going to get rid of all this stuff. And of course, I'd heard about people, we've all heard about people selling on eBay. I had sold books on Amazon in the past. And I thought, well, let me just give eBay a shot. I'll put the stuff from the antique store in there just so I can make a little bit of extra money on it and liquidate. And I love to thrift and that type of thing. But I already had all this stuff from the antique store, so I thought, okay. And I put it on eBay. My mother gave me some things because she was downsizing a little bit and wanted to clear out the basement and clear out her closet. And I said, okay, great. So I put a bunch of stuff up, probably, I don't know, 50 or 60 things. And it took a while. I mean, at first things didn't sell that quickly. I didn't know what to expect, quite honestly. I think, we all make the mistake. We think, well, it's going to sell overnight because this is great stuff, right? This is great stuff. Well, some of it did sell quickly, and some of it didn't sell at all. And of course, that was my introduction into eBay because, when I put the things on that I had to get rid of, I wasn't looking for demand or I wasn't even sure how to price things. I just kind of would do a little research and just guess and price, but I certainly didn't know how to check sell-through rate or anything like that. But that's the way I got started. And honestly, I caught the bug. I found myself getting excited about it. And I'd wake up in the morning and I'd think, ooh, I wonder what sold. I'd be real excited to check to see what sold the night before while I was asleep. And the funny thing about it is, I would have never guessed how many people shop in the middle of the night. So many times I go to bed, and I'm a night owl. I like to be up late. So maybe I go to bed at 2, get up at 8 or 9, and 3 things would have sold since I went to bed. And I thought, who is shopping in the middle of the night? But evidently a lot of people are. But that's how I got into it. And as someone that was kind of semi-retired, I was doing some tutoring at the time. I was doing some writing. I had the antique store. I always like to keep busy. I always have a lot going on. But eBay really got me fired up. And so I started looking into it. I watched some videos on YouTube. I love YouTube. So I decided to watch some videos on YouTube. And it was amazing. I just, for whatever reason, I think it was just meant to be. Sometimes you just fall into things haphazardly and then you decide you love them. And it becomes a whole big thing in your life, and that's what it did for me. And I think, I started thinking about it a lot. Why was it so perfect for me? And a lot of the reasons I loved it are the same reasons many other retirees are doing it, and they love it. And I run into people all over the place that are doing the same thing I am, that are about my age, or older sometimes, younger sometimes, but that are doing it, that are retired or semi-retired. And I can tell you right now, for a lot of us, it gives you a purpose. It's a lot of fun. I mean, if you naturally like to thrift, reselling is great. And if you're a senior, you have all this fabulous experience and information right in your head from decades of being a consumer. And vintage especially. I know a lot about vintage because I lived it. I lived through it. I am vintage, right? So that is a natural advantage, I think, that retirees have, is just, we know what was popular in the 80s and the 90s. Y2K, that's a big deal, especially a lot of clothes. People want Y2K. Well, um, I would say in the year right around Y2K, I was really in the prime of my life, and I loved fashion, and I bought a lot of it. So I can recognize that stuff because I remember wearing it when I was still really working in corporate America. Anyway, I think it just makes sense. I think one of the things that as you get older and when you retire, you want to be useful and use what you've got, use your experience, use the information that you've stored. And reselling gives you a great opportunity to do that. And you can do research, of course, on things that you don't know that well. I mean, I do research all the time, and I love to do research. I've used it a lot. I used it in my writing a lot. Um, but it's perfect. Like I've said this, I say it all the time because I feel frustrated in the world sometimes because I am a low-tech girl trying to survive in a high-tech world. And I say that because it's one of the bigger frustrations that I deal with. And I know it's not just me. I know it's a lot of people. And they're not all old people. Some people just don't love technology. And of course, don't get me wrong, I'm not anti-technology. I love my Netflix and I love my smartphone. I mean, I like what it can do for me. I'm not intrigued with it, and I certainly don't want to sell electronics, even though a lot of people do quite well at doing that. But the nice thing I found about reselling is I can kind of tiptoe into it. I could tiptoe into it and put my toe in the water. And from a technology standpoint, it wasn't as challenging as some other situations that I've been in where I felt a little bit at a loss because I haven't kept up as much as I, probably certainly could have if I had stayed in a corporate job with technology. But the nice thing is, I mean, I sold on eBay, and eBay actually was not the easiest. From what I understand, it wasn't the easiest site or platform to work on. I remember when I did my first listing, and don't be put off by this if you're contemplating or thinking about eBay. Just know you're going to have to take your licks, and I probably took longer than a lot of people do. The first listing took me like 4 hours to get up because I didn't know what I was doing. I was struggling. I do a little bit and then I think, oh, I've got to take pictures. And then I go take, so I did it very haphazardly. I was just kind of feeling my way through it. I didn't have any help. So I was just kind of like trying. And after that first item that I got up there, it was so much easier, of course. It still took me a while to get my time down, and now I can list something in 5 minutes or less. But boy, that first one, I just remember thinking, oh, if I hadn't had my, but I had patience, plus my ego was on the line because I told my mother I would put all of the stuff she had online, and so it was like I couldn't back out. I had to do it. But I do think the nice thing about reselling, you can resell, there's, eBay, which I would say is one of the harder ones to get started on, but once you're in it, it's not that bad. It's like anything. Once you, fumble through it, it gets very simple very fast. And I, like I said, I don't like learning new technology. I get irritable and impatient with it very quickly. But from what, and then shipping, of course, is another thing that's a challenge with eBay. But Poshmark is a lot easier from what I understand. I did sell books on Amazon a little while, about 10 years ago, because I love books and I like rare books and I enjoy reading. And I thought, well, I'm just going to sell books on Amazon. And I did enjoy that for a while, but that's really hard on your back. I mean, books are heavy, and there's nothing like buying 10 books and breaking your back carrying them to your car and then wrapping them. And I was doing Amazon FBA, so I would pack the books up and send them off to Amazon. Anyway, long story short, I do think that it's a great way to go. My cat is circling around. I'm just waiting for him to knock my phone off. You wouldn't believe how I've got this rigged. Like I said, low-tech girl. I've got a picture frame or not, or like a plate holder, those little plate holders that you have with my phone in it. And I've got a sock behind it so that my phone is sitting up. And if my cat knocks it over, this could be a really yucky video and that I'll have to start over with. And I pray that I don't have to. Anyway, what was I saying? Okay. Another good thing about reselling, it's a good physical outlet. I mean, I used to walk around malls and do all these things. I had my watch on and I would be counting my steps. I don't have to do that anymore. I mean, I can, but I am getting plenty of steps in shopping and carting things out of my car, into my car, taking things to the post office, cleaning. I mean, I have always had jobs where I didn't have to do anything physical to speak of, at least as an adult. I mean, the only physical job I had was when I was a kid. I was a lifeguard, but that wasn't even physical, really. I just sat in a chair and watched the pool. But so I'm glad I'm doing something that's active because I want to be active physically. I enjoy it. And this is so much more fun than walking around the malls and looking at my watch and walking, at the park or whatever, although I do like to walk at the park. But now even sometimes you just need to hear the birds and smell the grass, right? But I think that this gives seniors or retirees an excellent outlet for combining a lot of things that we all need. One, most of us are looking for a way to make supplemental income, or a lot of us are anyway, just to feel a little more secure. Not everybody really feels they have to, but it's nice. It's nice to have some play money or a little extra money that is just over and above what you have to have. And for some people, they really need this money. They, because let's face it, prices are going up and they always will be, probably going up faster than our retirement money will ever go up. So it's a needed thing. If you need income, you need exercise, you need a social outlet. I mean, that's the thing. Most of us got so much of our social interaction at work that once you retire, it's a little lonely, quite honestly. I mean, you don't want to be the retiree that sits there and watches TV 24/7. That's terrible for you, and it's incredibly lonely. And this gives you a way to get out and meet people. I've met a lot of people thrifting, and a lot of people are doing it. And if you go to the same places all the time, you'll get to know some of the people. And there's a lot of networking that goes on if you're interested. I mean, the good thing about it is you can be an introvert or an extrovert, and you can make reselling work for you. People never think I'm an introvert, but I know I am, because meeting new people feels stressful for me unless I'm, in a real comfortable space. But I'd rather be, I like my alone time a lot, but I also enjoy being around people and being out in the world. And I love, looking for treasures. I think it's great fun. So when you think about all of those ingredients, it's not a big surprise that there are so many retirees that are thrifting. It just makes sense. And you can, while you have to learn a few things on the computer, it's not a real high-tech situation. You don't have to go crazy and jump and learn tons of new technology. If you have a cell phone, you can really get by with just about that. I mean, I use my laptop some too, and a lot of people do, to do some of the research and everything, because it's just more comfortable. But I think you can almost get by with your cell phone. You do need a printer to print your postage off, and at least with eBay. And I'm talking about eBay mainly because that's the platform I'm on. Now, I did try Poshmark, and I didn't like it because you had to jump through a lot more hoops. I understand it's changed a little bit now, but when I first got on it, you had to share your closet. I don't know, it seemed like a bunch of weird rigmarole, and I just didn't want to do it. And I didn't want to spend money to do it. You know, it was kind of like, I wanted to keep this simple, so I did. Anyway, the social opportunities that this affords is great, and it can't be beat. And, you know, the thing is, too, and I'm not an accountant. Lord knows I don't even like accounting. Bookkeeping is like my least favorite part of this business, and I don't even have to do that much of it. But there are tax advantages to owning your own business, and I don't know if you know if you've ever owned one before or not, but you can take a trip, and a shopping trip, maybe go to the bins or go somewhere to go shopping and have a nice lunch there, maybe spend the night, and you can write off part of that trip and everything on for as a business expense. Now you have to talk to your accountant and find out all the details. But basically, if you're going to do business on the trip, and especially if that's the main reason you're going, and the nice thing is, there, you know, some of the nicest shopping areas, of course, are fun places to go. So not only can you make money from this business to fund the trip, you can write part of it off. So that's all good stuff. I mean, and undeniably, there, you know, people do it for financial reasons, they do it for social reasons, and they do it for health reasons. You do have to be careful, of course, about lifting and inventory. When I was setting up my inventory, and I've almost, you know, fallen a few times just because I can be very klutzy. And when I was trying to set everything up and get my inventory straightened out, because I have 1,200 items, which is a little more than I expected, but I think because I like the shopping the best, it's real easy for me to pick up things and go shopping and buy more than I sell. Some people say you get to a point, and I haven't gotten to this point yet, where you buy 5 things, you put them in, you sell 5 things. That should be your goal for a part-time reseller, is to buy 3 or 4 or 5 things a day and then sell 3 or 4 or 5 things a day. I haven't done that yet, and that's probably a testament to the fact that I probably still have some things that aren't high value, that didn't have a high enough demand. When I first started shopping, I wasn't as concerned about sell-through rate as I've gotten now. And just so you know, sell-through rate means the demand, basically. You compare the number of listings over a 90-day period with the number of things that sold over that same 90-day period, and that gives you the demand. And obviously, you want the number of things sold to be close to the number of things listed, because that means that there's a very high demand. And I learned that about 3 months into the business, watching on a video, and then I started trying to use it when I bought things. It still wasn't as simple as they made it sound on the videos, because, you know, things like seasonality would come in, and that 90-day period would kind of warp some of the numbers. But the good news is there's so much good research information that you can use on eBay, especially. I will say that I have been pretty happy with eBay, much happier than I was with Amazon. When I was an Amazon seller, they did a lot of squirrely stuff that I didn't feel good about. I don't feel like they were looking out for the people that were their so-called business partners. eBay, I feel better about in that regard. Although they aren't so easy to get on the phone, almost impossible, it seems like. But maybe I just didn't try hard enough. I don't know. So anyway, I do think it's an excellent business for all kind of reasons. Now, I'm going to start doing something on my videos every week. Or every time I have a video. I've been doing them quite regularly now, but I'm going to show something that I found while I was out thrifting, and tell you the story behind it. I'm going to lean down here, so you're going to see the top of my head for a minute. But this is an absinthe. I didn't even know what that was, but I love Art Deco. And when I saw this, I fell in love with it. I thought, this is so beautiful. And you put water in here, Now I've never used it, and I did check the valves to see if the liquid would come out. Evidently, you can put fruit in there. Um, I didn't know what it was, and I used the Google lens and took a picture, and then it explained it to me. And that's a wonderful tool, by the way. eBay has the same kind of thing, and then Google has it. You can use both if you want to. But I love Art Deco, and when I saw this woman, I thought, oh, that has got to be Art Deco. But I love it, and I don't know how old it is. It just looks old. And I bought it at a garage sale. And I put it online for $250, yeah, which was reasonable. A lot of them were much more than that. And I started thinking about it, and the fact that these didn't work that well, like the water would pour out of one of them and not all, I mean, they didn't seem to work perfectly, and I started getting spooked about it not working perfectly. Plus, it's very heavy, and the shipping was a lot. I had tons of activity on it, and then I took it off because I got afraid to ship it. Plus, I wanted to keep it. That's the hard part for me, is when I find something really beautiful, I want to keep it. So this beauty I'm keeping, but if you ever run across one of these and you aren't scared to ship it, test to see if the fluid will come out of here like it's supposed to empty out of this part. But these are worth a lot, and I would say if you ever run into one and it's a decent price, I think I paid $10 for this. And I had no idea what it was worth. I mean, I didn't even know what it was, but I knew I loved it, and I thought, well, even if it's not going to be something good to sell, I'm going to keep it because I just liked the way it looked. And I did think about selling it, and I did put it up on eBay for a minute. And then I decided that I wanted to keep it myself. That's going to be a challenge if you really, truly love some of these neat collectibles. It's going to be hard for you to part with them. And sometimes I've found myself using a trick. It's like I price it on the high side if I really love it, and I think it's a sign. If somebody is willing to pay that much for it, then it won't be so hard for me to sell it. And that's kind of my rule of thumb for things that I really, really love. I've got another one. I'll show you two things. This is German crystal, and I think it's very beautiful. A lot of the German and Bavarian crystal is just gorgeous, and it's worth a lot. This decanter is probably worth about $100 or so. And I've got a cat that's roaming around, and my cat makes me very nervous with my glass if I have it sitting out. But I think I may see the lovely blue color, and that it's cut crystal. It's very nice. I lived in Germany for a while when I was a kid. My dad had a position there. He wasn't military like so many of the other Americans over there, but he worked with the education department. And we were over there, and boy, the Europeans, they have some beautiful stuff. And my mother really bought a lot of crystal while we were over there. And I say that because, of course, this was kind of nostalgic, and this was a gift. I got this as a gift. And that's part of the reason I'm probably having a hard time putting it online, but I think I am going to put it online just because of my cat and because I've got to put some of this stuff online. Now, I don't want you to think like when I buy clothes, they go right online. I rarely keep clothes, but sometimes it's these hard goods, which I sell about 10% hard goods, that I have a hard time parting with because I like them so much. But I do sell 90% clothes. And I've learned a lot about clothes. I mean, I've always loved clothes, but I can buy for people in my age group because I know what women of my age are wearing and what they like, taste is relative, and we're all a little different, let's face it. But I have had to try to learn a lot about what the 20-year-olds are wearing because they spend a lot of money on clothes, more than people probably my age do. Anyway, it's been so much fun, and I do think that seniors, because of their extensive experience as consumers and their life experiences living through every decade that they've been alive, we know a lot about vintage, and we appreciate it a lot of times. It's sentimental to us, it's nostalgic. Um, so between that and just having the temperament as an older person to be patient, perhaps maybe more than we were when we were younger, probably. And to see the ups and the downs. This business has its ups and downs, it really does. And if you're really desperate for the money, this could be a tough business for someone that really is desperate for the money. And that's why I think retirees many times can be uniquely positioned to have fun with this without being stressed out about it. And also the fact that you can dial down the technology to a large extent. If you want some tools and techie stuff to play with and do this business with, you can buy it. It's all out there. You can do all kind of things. You can use AI in this business, which I have not done, and I don't think I will, but you never know, right? Never say never. Everyone's talking about AI, and I understand it a little bit. I got on ChatGPT, but honestly, I'm not interested in doing a deep dive into technology. I'm more interested in finding beautiful things that I love and sharing them with the world. Well, I'm going to sign off. I appreciate your spending a few minutes with me, and if you like this information and you're interested in getting more information like it, I would greatly appreciate your subscribing or hitting a like or a thumbs up. Happy holidays. I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.